We are live. Let's get rid of this chat message. Hey guys, welcome to my channel Glen. My name's Glenn. I'm trying to learn my way through the world of crypto while watching Family Guy. So, title of this video, how much Bitcoin should you own to end up rich eventually? So, obviously with the recent spikes of Bitcoin shooting right up and then coming back down and going back up again, obviously a lot of people are debating whether they should buy in, at what price should they buy in, what should they sell it and then buy back and stuff like that. And I'm seeing stuff on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, every single day. I check it all the time. And I was thinking, how can I help people decide how much Bitcoin they should buy and at what price should they buy it in? So obviously you always want to try and accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can for the lowest possible price, because that's how you make your money. But you have to seriously, long-term wise, have to look at, okay, how much is Bitcoin going to be worth eventually? So if you honestly believe, right, okay, I think Bitcoin, my personal opinion, and I've always stated this, I can see Bitcoin being worth $100,000 at some point. I don't know when. I don't know if that's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I don't know. But I can see that happening. And the recent action in the price of Bitcoin going up so much, up and down so quickly and so volatile, just sort of really reinforces that to me. It went from 3,000 to, what did it go to the other day? 14, like really quickly, like within the space of a week or two. Now that says to me, if you was to look at that over the course of long term, you could easily see that being worth 30,000, then 40,000, 50, and then eventually 80, 90, 100. So it's my honest belief that Bitcoin is going to go to $100,000 at some point. Now, I've got nothing to back that up with. It's just purely please don't take this as financial advice and all that sort of stuff. That's just my opinion. Anyway, you then have to think about, okay, price of Bitcoin's 11,000 at the moment. Let's just round up and say 10. $10,000, you buy Bitcoin. If you honestly believe, like I do, that it's going to go to $100,000, obviously that's 10 times your money. So if you put in $100, eventually that will be worth 1,000 once that happens. You know, Bitcoin sort of has a 10x. If you was to put in £1,000, obviously you £10,000. If you was to put in 20 grand, obviously that's going to eventually be worth 200 grand. So that's my honest belief. Now, how much do you need to put in to obviously be rich? You then have to ask yourself, well, what would I consider rich? You know, something that I was thinking about today, for where I live in the UK, to buy a 3-bed house, semi-detached, it would probably cost me about 250,000 to 300,000. That's generally the house prices around here, and sort of from here all the way to London. You know, that's just a rule of thumb. But if I go up north, I could probably pick up a 3-bed semi-detached house for 70,000, 100,000. So you think for someone up north, if they was to come into, say, 200 grand, 200,000, they could buy a house outright. They could probably buy their mum and dad a house, or whoever, their loved ones, and then they'll have money left over to buy a nice car. So then therefore you could say, actually, they are rich. You know, that is a good quality of life to have. For someone like me down here, for me to buy my house outright, I need at least 300 grand, 350 by the time you buy a nice one. And then obviously a car on top of that. So now I need 400,000. Now, this is really important because when you're working out, okay, well, how much do I need to invest into this Bitcoin thing to get the figures that I want? So you've all got a different figure in your mind. There's people watching this from Iran. We've got a viewer in the Telegram group chat. Feel free to, people are moaning that they can't see the link, but it should just be in the description. And I think I put it right at the top. So I don't know how clear I can make it. But if you want to join the Team BitGlen group chat, the link is in the description. Just click on it and it will take you through to Telegram and then obviously the group chat, and feel free to join it. We've got guys in there from Iran, Africa, America. We've got some, I think, Polish. We've got some. Anyway, you get the gist. There's people from all around the world, China, that chat and get involved in the conversation in the Team Bitcoin chat. And they all have probably different figures. You know, for them to buy a house might be $10,000 worth, say. For someone might say, well, actually, Glenn, it's £1 million to buy a house here. You know, so we all have different figures in our heads. Now, this is important because you don't want to be greedy. You need to think, okay, what do I want to get out of this? If Bitcoin does get to where you know your end target is 100,000, that's my personal what I think it'll be worth one day. If it gets to that and we see a 10x from where we're at now, that means you're going to 10 times your money. So if I want to accumulate 400,000, I need to make sure that I'm putting in 40,000 pounds or dollars, sorry, of Bitcoin. So then that's my figure. For me to be rich, have a good lifestyle, that's what I need to be putting into it. So you could say, well, actually, Glenn, if you bought when it was at 3,000, the amount, you know, the X, if you like, the amount that you could accumulate would be a lot higher. This is really difficult to do because typically when the price of Bitcoin goes down, you don't know if that's the bottom or not. It's very rare that people actually get the bottom, because the only reason it is a bottom is because there's loads of stories, press, people talking about how this is going to happen, this is going to happen, Bitcoin's going to zero, Bitcoin's going to $100, and you're thinking, oh fuck, I don't want to buy something at $4,000 and it goes down to 100. Unless you honestly believe that it is going to be worth 100,000, like I do. This is why I've not worried too much when the price of Bitcoin was at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000. It makes no odds to me, really. It just means when it gets to 100 grand, I might have one or two more X in there, if you like. So I'm just buying it when I'm ready, because then I'm not, right now I've got, say, £1,000 invested in Bitcoin. You know, obviously over the next coming months, that will be more. That will be 2,000, 3,000. So obviously then by the time it obviously has a 10x, now I've got 30,000 invested in Bitcoin. Some people may have different figures. Some people think Bitcoin's going to 1 million. I know, is it John McAfee still believes it's going to 1 million? Then it would be obviously a, I can't work that out, 1,000 times X, you know, and if you put in £1,000 now, you'd have, you know, fucking, you'd have, I don't know, 100 grand or something, you know, by next year, I think his prediction was. But anyway, obviously, I'm just trying to be realistic and down to earth. If you actually look at the way the price of Bitcoin has generally risen over the last few years, and especially now, the way that I saw it shoot right up. Now, you could say that's manipulation or whatever, but you've got to say, once it starts a bull run, there doesn't seem to be any stopping it. And who's to say that that doesn't happen between 25k and 75k? It would just happen so fast. So there's some questions and thoughts that you need to take into account. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment down below, what's your figure where you would say, yep, actually, I would love to walk away from Bitcoin and cryptocurrency with this. Now, a lot of people out there, like Bitcoin maximalists, will say, well, you should just not sell it ever. Which is true if the world then becomes Bitcoin acceptant. What I mean by that is that if you had something that is worth $100,000 and you only pay $10,000 for it, when you then go to buy a car or pay for a holiday or buy a house, if they accept Bitcoin, yeah, why would you sell for fiat money? Of course you would keep Bitcoin, but the chances are that's not going to happen, not for a long time. So therefore you will want to sell at least a share of it, so that you can, you know, get the lifestyle that you want, because, you know, you have to have some goal or something that you want from this apart from just having Bitcoin. You know, you want, obviously there are lending platforms as well, leveraging, so there's lots of options. Once you've got that equity, that asset, and you've bought it for a cheap price, you may not even need to sell it. You could probably get a loan against it. If it's worth $100,000, yeah, you're going to be able to borrow 50, 60,000 against it easy, you know. So, and then that unlocks more opportunities. King of Crypto says, I want to hold BTC forever. Yeah, that's one way of living, I suppose. I have to realistically think, you know, I'm 35, that I'm probably halfway through my life. You know, if realistically, I'm probably going to die when I'm between 70 and 80. So I'm, say, halfway through my life now. Am I going to see a world in the next 30 years where Bitcoin is accepted everywhere and the amount of Bitcoin I buy today is going to really propel me in the future? May do. I, I, I doubt it. And if I did, it'll be towards the end of my life. I'll be at a stage where maybe I can't go abroad. Maybe I can't. I won't be able to drive a nice car because of the suspension. I'll have to buy a nice automatic smooth drive. You know, you have to have some goal or something that you want to achieve with it. I'm not saying everyone should sell their Bitcoin as soon as it gets to 100,000. I'm not saying that by means, but you have to set yourself, like, what do you want in life? If it's to give it to your kids, then yeah, just hold it forever and just pass it on to your children, and you've set them up for their life. You know, or if there's something you want out of it, a house. You know, I've always said I'd love to be able to put a deposit down, using crypto for a house. That's, you know, I'd love that. Your goal should be more bullish. Well, I don't know. I think $100,000 for a Bitcoin. If that was to, I was just watching a video with what's that, crypto trader? What's his name? You know, the CNBC, the guy from South Africa. I can't remember his name. He was interviewing Anthony Popilan, something like that. And he was saying that he actually sort of predicted a while back that Bitcoin would go down to $3,000 and then eventually it would rise back up to 10,000. And he's actually investing money, into Bitcoin for investors. And obviously he needs to make a profit. So he will buy it at a set price and then sell it at a set price. But he said his personal Bitcoin holdings, he would just hold on long term wise, which, I really respect that. And I thought, actually, the stuff he was saying was spot on, actually, taking a very sort of honest view on it. Some of the guys in the group chat and also on Twitter, once Bitcoin starts to go on a run, you know, they get overexcited. You know, they start to believe that this is never going to end, and this, oh, it's just going to keep going up and up. This is it, $1 million. But with anything in price, inherently, you're going to have people that buy it at the low end. And soon as it goes up a certain amount, they're going to say, right, if I sell it here, I've tripled my money. They sell, if enough people do that, the price drops. And then once it starts to drop, people say, oh no, this is it, it's going to zero, quick, sell. And then they sell, and then obviously it happens even faster. So you have to have, I think, a goal in mind. Right, okay, I'll sell my Bitcoin at 100,000. if Bitcoin stays above 100,000 after that point, I'd be like, well, do you know what? I've 10 times my money. Great investment. I would have never been able to do that anywhere else. Or you could, like say, leverage against it, borrow money against it, therefore a tax-free event. But then obviously if you sell at that high and then Bitcoin drops, and we've seen 80% drops in the past, and it's happened several times in Bitcoin's life, it might go back down to 20,000, and then you buy back in then, and then rise that, ride the wave back up to 100k. And then therefore you've you've 5x'd another lot of money, So I think you do have to have, when people say you need to be more bullish, if you're thinking that there's going to be this utopian world where everyone accepts just Bitcoin, then yeah, hold on to Bitcoin and just never ever sell it. In a more realistic world, I can't see that happening. I can eventually, but will it happen in my lifetime? Will Glenn ever see that? I don't think I will. I don't think I'll see a world where Bitcoin is the dominant world accepted currency for all goods and services. I can't see that. So therefore, what am I in this for? Yes, I would like to hold on to Bitcoin for a long time, but also I want to obviously increase my quality of life at some point while I'm still at an age where I can enjoy. It's like when you do stuff to your house. When you come to sell your house, you'll generally say to the estate agent, should I get the driveway done before we put it on the market? Now they'll probably say, if they sense that it's going to delay the sale of the house, they'll say to you, no, it's fine, just leave it, we'll get round it, and if people haggle you down the price, it'll probably be the same as if you got it done, so you've not made any extra money. So therefore, if you did the driveway for say £4,000 and your house is now worth the same money, you've just lost £4,000. But the chances of your house selling are increased. The turnaround of you selling your house may be quicker. So that's one side of it. You're spending money to gain money at some other point. The other reason why you would want to get that driveway done is to improve your quality of life. You might want the driveway done so you have a driveway that you can make full use of for 5-6 years while you're living in the property. Then when you come to sell the property, you would have forgotten about the £4,000 you spent doing that driveway up because you've made use of it. So coming back to crypto, I would say that, a good investment strategy, this is my honest opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I love hearing any of your criticisms. You have to have a figure in your head. Now, you may not agree with me. You might think, Glenn, it's not going to 100,000. It's going to 50,000 max. Buy some now, 5 times your money. When it happens, sell at that point. If Bitcoin, you've made 5x, so let's say you put in £1,000 or 10 grand, you've now got 50 grand. You sell at 50 grand, you've got all that fiat money, keep a little bit, aside in Bitcoin. And then if it ever drops again, buy some more. It's going to drop in price at some point. Buy some more then. All right, it might have gone up to 70,000. Okay, so you've lost out on 10 grand worth of gains, if you like. But from that point onwards, your quality of life is going to increase at some point, either whether that's clearing off all your debts, mentally, physically, you're going to improve your quality of life. Buying a new car, putting a deposit on a house, maybe going on a nice holiday. These are all improving something in your life. Now, I'm not saying just buy Bitcoin, wait for it to rise, cash out, and then just spunk the lot. That's not the advice I'm trying to give. I'm a great believer in you've only got one life. There is no afterlife and there is no second life. It's just this. When I die, I hope that they put me in one of those things where you grow back into a tree or something. That's what I've told all my family I want. But anyway, so that's getting a bit deep for this sort of YouTube video. This is why I was saying at the beginning of the video, and I've digressed a bit, you have to sit back and say, right, what do I want? Now, if you want to just have a wallet with a high amount of Bitcoin and that's it, buy Bitcoin, store it somewhere very safe that only you know, and just keep doing that on a recurring basis. Buy some a month, buy some a week, buy some a year, whatever you can afford, and just keep doing that. If you're watching this video going, well, actually, Glenn, I would love to be able to buy my parents a house because they're retiring. They've got no retirement. I don't want to put them into a home. How much are houses in your area? What sort of house do you want to buy them? Bungalows in my area are worth more than two-story houses for some reason. So therefore, you would have to say, right, okay, I need to make sure that I'm, for me to say, okay, I've made it, I've become rich, I need $400,000 or £400,000. Well, if that's the case, over the next year or two, try and accumulate 4 Bitcoin. Because if you believe that it's going to go to $100,000 at some point, you want 400,000, buy 4 Bitcoin. Whether that's all in one lump sum or whether it's over a period of time, accumulate 4 Bitcoin. If you're saying, no, Glenn, I want 1 million, you need 10 Bitcoin. So start budgeting in your mind, okay, how can I accumulate 10 Bitcoin? Right, if I can afford a £300 a month, I could probably put aside from my wages into Bitcoin. £300 a month, give it a year, you've got 3,600 straight away. Now, if Bitcoin drops in any of that time, who knows, if it goes back down to $5,000, you're buying 10% of a Bitcoin a month. It's only going to take you 10 months and then bang, you've already got 1 Bitcoin. Now you do that over the course of, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, all of a sudden you've got 5 Bitcoin. You're well on your way to your goal, your target of being rich. If it goes to 100,000, obviously. So yeah, you've got to ask yourself some serious questions there. What do I want to accumulate to say that I'm rich? A lot of people say, well, I just want to accumulate as much as possible. That's unrealistic. You'll never be happy with that. You have to say, right, I would love a new car for my baby, or I would love to be able to pay my mortgage off early. I would love to go traveling around the world. I would love to go and see my family in the Philippines, whatever it is. I don't care. Whatever your thing is, to say that, yeah, this is it. I've made it. I've done it. I've achieved my goal. You may want to set up a business. You may want to do something for a loved one that they've never thought they could do. Whatever that goal is, set yourself a price, right? I would love to make $100,000. I believe Bitcoin is going to this much, so therefore I need this many Bitcoin. And just plod along and try and work your way to accumulating that many Bitcoin. I've always said I want at least 1 whole Bitcoin, and obviously I'm aiming towards that. I'm at sort of 10% of a Bitcoin now. I haven't bought Bitcoin for a year. I haven't mined. I haven't been trading. I haven't done nothing. I have done absolutely nothing. But in the last, I would say, month, I've been on a weekly basis, just buying bits here and there, what I can afford. And before you know it, obviously I had £1,000 worth. Who knows? This time next month, I might have £2,000 worth. Now, if the price of Bitcoin keeps going up, that might only be another 10%. I might have missed that boat, but that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm not going to go out and get a loan or borrow loads of money off someone and owe them that money back, because that's really risky on like several different levels, and it may pay off. It may absolutely. You could go and get a loan tomorrow for £10,000 or dollars, buy 1 whole Bitcoin, sit back, make 6 monthly payments on it of, I don't know, like, what would that be, like £200 a month, say, I don't know, £300 a month, $300. You might pay that 6 times, but Bitcoin goes and goes up to $100,000. Then you could cash that out, pay the loan off, and you're left still with $90,000 or whatever it may be. So you could do that, but that is, you're gambling on the price of Bitcoin going up within that time frame. And secondly, you're gambling with a loan which you're now paying for monthly with interest. So, you're paying interest. So you're actually down on that Bitcoin straight off. So you could do that, but that's not the route I'm choosing to take. I'm choosing to buy it as and when. Now, if Bitcoin does just shoot right up and go up to $100,000, I'll be slapping, I'll be like, ah, fuck. Why didn't I sell the car? Why didn't I sell the house? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? But hey ho, that's the route that I've chosen to go down. I can sleep quite easily at night. I don't really care if Bitcoin goes down in price or up. Like I showed the guys in the Telegram group chat, that $1,000 I had when Bitcoin crashed the other day. I think it says on Coinbase that it's only worth 600 now. So I've lost £400 in the space of 3 days. That's not a nice feeling. In American money, that's probably about $600. The price of Bitcoin's gone back up tonight, back up to 12,000. So all of a sudden now it's worth 700 and something, 750. So now I've only lost 250. But I'm not worried. It's money that my wife and kids are not going to say, Dad, what happened to all that money it's just, I'm putting in bits here and there. I can comfortably afford it. I'm not going to stress. I'm not going to worry. I have that Bitcoin. I honestly believe that it's going to go to $100,000 at some point. I'm going to keep accumulating more Bitcoin over the next coming weeks and months. And I don't really care what price I buy it at. I don't care if it goes up to 14, 15, 20, 25. I'm still just going to keep buying that Bitcoin until I think, do you know what? I've got one whole Bitcoin. Price has gone up to 100,000 and I'm going to cash out some of that if I feel that I need that money to improve my quality of life somewhere. So anyway, that's just what I thought I'd share with you guys. It's taken me a lot longer to explain that. It's a really touchy subject, especially on cryptocurrency, because a lot of people are Bitcoin maximalists, and they have been right for a long time. You think the people that bought Bitcoin when it was worth $5, and they're saying, just hold on, just hold on, just hold on, just hold on, just hold on. And obviously now we're sort of, I can't remember when Bitcoin came out, 2011 or something like that. So we're sort of 7 years, is that right? I can't remember, 2013 maybe. So you're talking like 6-7 years down the road. Bitcoin's now worth 14,000, and they have been right over the long term. They have been right, and they're still holding because they think it's going to be worth more. But I suppose you have to look and say, right, okay, at what age do you sell at? What price do you sell at? What do you want to achieve? What is it you want to do? Do you just want to brag and say, "Oh, look, Bitcoin's worth $100,000, and I bought it when it was $10, so I've made I've made £3 million. Great, well done, mate. You've done really well. What are you going to do with that 3,000? 3 million. What are you going to do with it? At some point, you want that Lambo. When Lambo, when Moon. You're going to want a house for your kids. You're going to want new clothes. You're going to, and I'm not saying cash all your Bitcoin out for those material things, but at some point you have to take something out of it. Unless we live in a world where everyone accepts Bitcoin. Like, you can buy cars with Bitcoin. You can try and buy a house with Bitcoin. When we're in that world, you're going to think, God, I wish I had more Bitcoin because, now I've got to pay these prices. I remember when it was only this much. And you hear old people say about houses. I don't know about in America, but in the UK, we have this fascination, like old people say things like, oh, I remember I bought this house for $5,000. And you're like, what? It's worth 300 grand now. And they're like, yeah, I know. And you're like, well, why didn't you buy fucking 5? Why didn't you buy 10? And, they could probably be like, well, that was a lot of money back in our time. We had to get a mortgage and we could barely keep up the monthly payments on it. But obviously over the long term, it's well paid off for them. And what do they do with that house? and if they're staying there, like if they're like, this is our family home, we want to stay here forever, we're going to die in this house, you'd remortgage. You'd just get a mortgage or a loan against the house for 100,000 because it's worth 300,000. Your monthly payments are going to be £200-300 a month, and you're going to go out and have a really nice holiday and increase your quality of life. You're going to do the house up, so therefore you're increasing your quality of life because you live in a better home now, or the way that you want it done up. You're going to increase, buy the garden, do something to the garden, buy a new car, go on a nice holiday, treat the family, take them to Disney World. You're going to want to do something with it. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on. You guys might be like, why is Glenn just keep going on about this? But I think people need to be realistic. And I think people need to just sometimes take a step back and say, do you know what? If someone approached me a few years ago and said, look, if I give you this opportunity where whatever you give me, I will 10 times it. I'll give it back to you, but in 3 years' time, you'd be like, oh yeah, mate, here you go. Here's as much as I can give you. I'm going to sell the house. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then you're going to get that 10 times money back and think, fuck, I'm so glad I did that, and that's where I feel I'm at with Bitcoin now. I feel like, it's almost a it's really hard to say this without sounding like an absolute idiot, but I feel like it's a dead cert that Bitcoin's going to be worth $100,000. That's what I honestly believe, passionately. I believe $100,000. So when Bitcoin gets to $100,000, what do? Well, I could be like, hey, I was right. See, told you. Bitcoin's worth $100,000. Told you. And then my wife would say, okay, what are we doing with this then? And I'd be like, well, no one accepts it. I'm just going to stare at it through my Coinbase app. You've got to do something with it. You've got to, and then obviously by then, if that takes 5 years, I'll be 40, 41. I'm going to want to, pay for my kids to go uni. I'm going to want to help them get on the property ladder. There's going to be things that I want to do with that money, or that Bitcoin. I would love to be able to say, here you go, here's 10% of a Bitcoin, use that to put as a deposit down on a house. Oh, that would be amazing. But will it happen? I don't know. So what about you guys? What's your figure? I'd love to hear this. There's 8 of you watching at the moment. I'm sure many more will watch later tonight and tomorrow. Please comment down below. I'd love to hear like everyone saying what their figure is. And I know some of you are going to joke about and say, oh, 20 trillion pounds, whatever. But what's your figure where you'd actually say, yeah, I've made it. I've done it. That's what I wanted to do. What's your figure? BTC just jumped to 15k. Did it? Are you sure? I hope it did. That's fucking... I just lost £400 on it, but yeah, I think we have to be realistic here. Set targets, set goals, and that's a way that you're going to win either way. If you buy something and it goes up in price tenfold, and you cash out, and if someone else is going, oh, you're a traitor because you cashed out, you should just hodl. You can say, okay, mate, well, it's still there. Like, Bitcoin is still there. I can still buy back if I want to. But actually, I started off with £1,000. Now I've got £10,000. And I'm going to use that to, obviously with any asset that's going up in value, you wouldn't cash it out until you really wanted to use it for something, because fiat's always depreciating. It's at 16k now. King of crypto. I assume you're having me on, but yeah, actually I can tell because it's on my watch. Let's see. Oh, I know. Oh, my watch has gone dead. Damn you. But that's it from me, guys. I've blabbered on now for half hour. Please give this video a thumbs up before you leave. The few guys I know you normally do for me, so I appreciate that. If you're new to this channel, please click subscribe. I'm just... At first, I wanted to double my initial investment and then took my original investment out. But as the price goes up, plans change. Ha ha ha. Yeah, well, So you had a goal. You wanted to double your money. So let's just say that's $1,000. You put $1,000 in and you wanted to receive $2,000 back. Why not wait until Bitcoin's gone past the point where it's doubled? So let's say you invested when Bitcoin was at $5,000. If Bitcoin is at $15,000 or it hits it over this weekend, you've tripled your money. Why not take £2,000 out and leave 1,000 in? That way you can't lose. If Bitcoin goes on a massive rally and goes up to 100K, you might be like, oh, God, I wish I'd kept that amount of Bitcoin I had originally because I would have so much more money. But yeah, but then you could say, well, yeah, but all I wanted to do was double money. I did it and I kept some Bitcoin. Yeah, the FOMO keeps you in. Yeah, it does. The trouble with that is that you FOMO in and then you keep FOMOing in. Like, you might have $1,000 and then you start to think, okay, should I use my credit card? Should I borrow money? Can I'll buy some more because it's going up so fast. And when it goes down, oh, that is a sick feeling, isn't it? Like, if you've borrowed money to buy Bitcoin and it goes down in price and you lose 30-40%, like we did less than 24 hours ago. You know, I lost $400 worth or pounds worth. It's a sick feeling. It sort of like makes you sick. But I have a belief that overpowers that sick feeling that Bitcoin is going to 100,000. So for me, I'm just like, okay, this is just today. This is Friday. Oh well, happy crypto. You know, it makes no odds to me. So, but if your original target was to just double your money, whatever you put into it at whatever price, wait till you've doubled it and then cash out. And then, do you know what? Take a step back, give it a day, give it 2 days, because Bitcoin is still there. Yeah, you're going to buy back in and you won't have as much Bitcoin as you had when you bought it at the cheaper prices, but you've still doubled your money. You've taken a step back. You've decided what you want to do with that money. And if you honestly think, right, okay, I want to put this amount of money back into it, then that's your choice. That's your choice at that point in time. And if it keeps going up, great. If it goes down, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, I wish I just kept it. But yeah, set a target, guys. Take profits. You have to, especially in the society that we live in at the moment. Because otherwise, what have you got? You're just giving Coinbase money, really. But I don't know. I know that's going to be a sore subject. And with YouTube, people only want to hear what they want to hear. And there'll be Bitcoin maximalists that watch this video and they will be pissed off. They'll say, Glenn, you don't know what you're talking about. You're telling people to cash out, you know, just hodl and all that sort of stuff. And I 100% agree with you. If you can guarantee me that we're going to live in a world where Bitcoin is accepted everywhere, if that happens, yeah, just hodl. If it doesn't, some point, set a target in your head. How much money do you want to make? How much do you want to take out from it? And what are you going to do with that money once you take it out? If you just want to go and get your nails done and get your hair done, whatever, and go on go on holiday for a week, then, you know, you have to think to yourself, okay, is this asset worth getting rid of for this thing that I could probably afford? But if you're like, I want to buy a house, you know, that's a big thing. That's going to change your life. You know, if any of you watching this live with your parents, live in a 1-bedroom flat or apartment with crap neighbours either side of you, and you live in a bit of a rough area, a ghetto or whatever, a council estate, you know, if you're thinking, do you know what, actually, I want to live over there where it's like detached houses with nice fields and my kids can run around in the garden, that's more to me than any sum of money. So if I buy Bitcoin and it can give me that, whether it's by paying for it in Bitcoin or whether it's cashing it out and using fiat money to get that, that's worth more to me than any amount of asset. So set yourself a target, set yourself a dream. And I tell you what started me off thinking about this. And I was watching today The Greatest Showman. I was watching it with the kids. And the film starts off with them singing a song saying, A million dreams is all it's gonna take. You know that song. Everyone knows that song. It's on the radio all the time. Well, the next song after that, obviously after a little while, he actually becomes a showman, an umpire, whatever they call it, a master of ceremonies, and he's sort of like running the circus or whatever. And he's singing and he's saying, oh shit, what's he saying? He's saying, I'm dreaming with my eyes wide open. He's essentially a nice way of saying my dreams have come true. When you've got this nice big house and you've got a nice car, or you've bought your wife something, and you've paid for a wedding, or you've helped your medical bills for your dying mother or something, that is, you're dreaming with your eyes wide open, and you can say to everyone, yeah, I could have made more money with Bitcoin, but I did this. This Bitcoin gave me this. It bought this for me. It gave me the opportunity which I wouldn't have got anywhere else. That's what I'm trying to say. Dream with your eyes wide open, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.